Hey everybody, this is Deb with Truthification Chronicles, and this is going to be like a headlines thing. I'm not going to go into any depth on any one thing because I just have a ton of links that I found on Twitter, and I think maybe you'll be interested in seeing some of these articles. So first of all, if you don't follow me on Twitter, you can find me at @ergo_supero. And that means, therefore, I survive. It's kind of part of what one of my characters says, which is cogito ergo supero. I think, therefore, I survive. Unfortunately, Twitter wouldn't allow me to have that, and it didn't allow me to put Truthification Chronicles because that was too long. And then Truthification somebody else had. So, yeah, that's what I ended up with. Anyway, so follow me and I will try to follow you back as much as I can. I don't know. Right now, I seem to be in a good spot where I can still follow people, but I've heard that there's, maybe a gap difference that you got to make sure you stay within. So I don't know. I just got over the 5,000 mark. Thank goodness. It'd been such a long time and I kind of was like stuck right there and I couldn't get over it. Anyway, so I have several I'm going to share with you. And we're going to start with this one just because it is funny. And I'm not going to read them to you, but you can get them. And so I will leave all the links down below. If you want to retweet it or whatever the case, you can go to the actual tweet and get them from there. So, yeah, these are pretty good here. This one you might not be able to read because it's pretty small. Knew about the mission, the dog. Couldn't be trusted. I think it was actually, Leakin' Schiff is who he didn't want to find out about it. But Nancy's part of that group, so it would, if it went to her, it'd go to Schiff. They all talk to each other. So anyway, I will give you the link to this particular one, and just because they're funny. They are. This one I wanted to point out to you because it kind of shows what happens with liberals when you try to debate something with them. This is what happens. Okay, so this Brianna Westbrook, and, from the Arizona Democratic Party, and she says, I'm at the thrift store shopping with my daughter, and this white guy just walked in with a revolver half the size of his leg. I asked him, why is it necessary to carry such a large revolver in public? His response, just in case anyone F's with me, I won't miss. Okay, and I gotta admit, that was a pretty good sized gun. But that is. And so this Don Murphy comes in and tries to make it, be the authority on things. And you gotta understand, this Don Murphy, this is what his bio says. I like to party. And he has all of 60 followers. Ooh. So anyway, he says, well, first of all, this guy is sadly mistaken. Anyone who messes with him also must be carrying a gun or pointing a gun at him. This guy has some grammar issues, okay? Most people who carry don't understand that in order to draw your weapon on someone to defend yourself, they must also have a gun drawn on you. No, they don't. Look. Here, this is a law website, okay? And the law website says you do have to retreat if possible, but if the person is coming after you, yes. What if the aggressor doesn't have a gun? Look at this. In some situations, using a gun in self-defense also may be appropriate even if the aggressor does not have a gun. For instance, if an attacker has another deadly weapon, such as a knife, a metal bar, or a baseball bat, using a gun can be considered reasonable if the victim can't access any other weapon. And then, of course, you've got the castle doctrine, which says if they come into your house, you don't have to worry about that. And then stand your ground. Remember, there's a lot of states with stand your ground laws. So this guy is not telling the truth. He doesn't know. And so, of course, Mckrackin here, way to go, Mckrackin. Mckrackin knows a little bit more because here's Mckrackin's bio. So yeah, knows a little bit about guns there. Hardcore supporter of free speech, freedom of religion, and our God-given right to bear arms. You go, Mckrackin. And so Mckrackin says categorically false. And Don Murphy, the liberal, comes back and says, actually, no, it's not they. Okay, this is where it gets really hard to read because he does such a poor job. Actually, no, it's not they teach you that in your concealed carry course. And if they weren't taught that, then the instructor is clearly an idiot. There's only 3 states. There is only 3 states. Okay, is R, there. Okay, there is only 3 states in this country that do not allow you to polygon if the other person is not holding a gun and it be legal. Okay, I don't understand the polygon. That's not a term I'm familiar with, but I'm assuming that it means to pull out a gun on somebody, I guess. Anyway, so Mckrackin comes back and says, tell your instructor to bone up on the law a little. Maybe you should too. And Don Murphy says, well, I don't need to because I don't need to because I just like, wait, didn't you just say that? Well, I don't need to because I don't need to because I just told you the law. I'm not an idiot. You sound like it. I wouldn't comment on something that I didn't know the facts on. The state I live in. If someone comes at you with their fists, you cannot pull a gun on them without being charged. Okay, I don't know what state Don, I like to party, 60 followers, Murphy lives in. But anyway, Mckrackin comes back and says, you did not tell me the law. You stated an opinion with no backup. Now I want you to tell me the law. Start with the 27 states with stand your ground laws. Pay particularly close attention to the state the man in the OP is in. Oh, just good job. Good job, Mckrackin. Don Murphy comes back with, did you know that wolves can run up to 30 miles an hour? I'm sitting here reading this and I'm going, what? You have issues. Yeah, definitely. Thank you. You have a good night. Satan loves you. Okay. Did you know that squirrels are just rats that evolved to live in trees? Did you know in 13 states you can marry a direct family member, including sister or mother? What's going on with this person? This guy has lost his mind. This is what happens when you try to reason with liberals. Oh, and he goes on. And, it doesn't end there. It keeps going. It keeps going. Did you know that sea otters hold hands when they sleep to keep from drifting apart? That one I actually knew. But it's like, what does this have to do with the discussion? Did you know that squirrels plant thousands of trees a year by simply forgetting where they put their acorns? I think this is one acorn where they need to be forgotten. And it goes on. Turtles can breathe through their butts. Did you know that rats laugh when tickled? It goes on. Now, there were a couple more down here that got a little crude, so, Twitter did hide them. But it's just like, really? Look at all these. This is how they argue with you. They don't have any argument. So they start doing something stupid like this. Good for you, Mckrackin. I'm glad that you stood up for what's logical. Oh my goodness, that was crazy. I often get into some of these with some of the liberals, but I'll tell you what, I don't have a lot of patience with them. So I give them 1 or 2 comments and then I just ignore the conversation. There's a little thing here you can ignore, and usually you can ignore the conversation sometimes if that goes back and forth, because sometimes they just like spam you. I mean, they just keep going on and keep, putting you in there. They refer to you and then it keeps coming up in your notifications. So really annoying in that. Anyway, let's go on. Epstein survivor pens letter to Attorney General Barr. Okay, basically she's saying don't let the Epstein thing die because Epstein's not been in the news lately. Have you noticed? Something I found interesting, and this is from ABC News, by the way, and something I found interesting on this was that they say Courtney Wild, who has accused sex offender Jeffrey Epstein of childhood abuse, is not giving up her fight for justice, even after Epstein's death by apparent suicide. I like the way they use the word apparent. Do they know something they haven't told us? I kind of wonder. I still don't know exactly what the truth is about that, so I'm not thinking it was a suicide, that's for sure. And who knows, maybe he's not even dead. I don't know. Just kind of stepping back saying we'll find out one of these days. So I'll leave all the links to these down below. You can read the ones that interest you the most. Grassley seeks ID of Hillary State Department aides who deliberately transmitted classified docs via private email. And that just came out. And so, yeah, there were 38 people were found culpable in 91 cases. And we already went through that in a letter that Grassley did. And so now Grassley's saying, okay, well, we want to know the identity of these people. What happened to them? What were the consequences of them doing this? We need to know who they are. So here's the video that goes along with it and everything. So I thought you would like to see that as well. And then we go on this, which is the House Dems rollout procedure resolution to govern Trump impeachment inquiry. Okay, I'm sure you've heard this by now, that this is what they did. And in this article, here's the link to the resolution. But the thing I want to point out to you, they're going to be voting on this on Thursday. This is not voting on impeachment. This is voting on procedures, just a resolution to govern the procedures that they're going to use in their fake impeachment inquiry, because it's still fake, because they're still not taking a vote, because they still don't have the numbers and they know it. So anyway, here is the resolution for you, and it starts out and says, directing certain committees to continue their ongoing investigations as part of the existing House of Representatives inquiry into whether sufficient grounds exist for the House of Representatives to exercise its constitutional power to impeach Donald John Trump, President of the United States of America, and for other purposes. And so, yeah, that's pretty much what they start out with. And they're saying that, we're going to still keep on doing, are directed to continue their ongoing investigations. So nothing's going to change. Nothing is going to change. But they're putting up an appearance that things are going to change. Now, I want to point out to you some of the traps in here. Yeah, they want to make this sound like, we're going to be open and transparent, because I'll tell you, it's been looking really bad for them, because people are starting to go, hey, why are you doing this all in secrecy behind closed doors? If you've got a good case, why not let it out to the people, the American people? And so this is what they're trying to make you think, that they're going to be more open and transparent. But the truth is, not a lot's going to really change. And so anyway, if you go through this is going to point out to you that really the person running the show is Adam Schiff, because he is the chairman of the Permanent Select Committee on Intelligence, the Intel Committee, shall designate an open hearing or hearings pursuant to this section. So the deal is Adam Schiff can designate the hearings. Can anybody else? Nope, just Adam. Adam's the one who has to do it. You got to figure he's got to be even dirtier than the others, so he's fighting for his life here. Anyway, then they go on and they say, well, we will give the chair and ranking minority member of the Permanent Select Committee, which would be Devin Nunes, shall be permitted to question witnesses for equal specified periods of longer than 5 minutes. So they get to question longer than 5 minutes, right? Oh, not quite. Let's read this next phrase. As determined by who? The chair, Adam Schiff. So in other words, they can question longer than 5 minutes if Adam Schiff wants them to question longer. So Devin Nunes can question longer than 5 minutes only if Adam Schiff says he can. See, it's not fair. Nothing has changed. Nothing. The time available for each period of questioning under this paragraph shall be equal for the chair and the ranking minority member, if Adam Schiff says. The chair may confer recognition for multiple periods of such questioning, but each period of questioning shall not exceed 90 minutes in the aggregate. Only the chair and ranking minority member or a Permanent Select Committee employee, if yielded to by the chair or ranking minority member, may question witnesses during such periods of questioning. Now, here's the deal. You see, the Democrats did this before, and they tried to put their lawyer in as an employee when they weren't. And so they were trying to slip one in, but the rules are just not applying. They don't apply the same to the minorities. I'm sure if the minority tried to do that, they would not allow that to happen. And they did. In fact, the minority did try that. I think they tried to get Ratcliffe in there to do their questioning, and they wouldn't let them because they were not a staff member, an employee. Yeah. Anyway. At the conclusion of questioning pursuant to this paragraph, the committee shall proceed with questioning under the 5-minute rule pursuant to clause this. Okay. So then they go into the 5-minute rules, which means everybody gets 5 minutes and it looks like a circus. But again, it's going to really be up to Adam Schiff to decide if the questioning is along the lines it should be or not, which is what he's been doing. He stopped Jim Jordan from asking some questions because they weren't along the lines that Adam Schiff wanted. And so he stopped him. I mean, this is what's going on. And it's not going to change. This resolution won't change a thing. And it's going to deceive a lot of people because they're going to believe that this is not a resolution, that this is actually impeachment of Trump. This is not an impeachment. This is not a vote to impeach Trump. Make sure everybody you know understands that, because it's not. It's merely going to be a vote on Thursday for this resolution, and this resolution is just procedural. To allow for full evaluation of minority witness requests, the ranking minority member may submit to the chair in writing any requests for witness testimony relevant to the investigation described in the first section. Okay, so Devin Nunes can submit to the chair, to Adam Schiff, in writing the request for other people to come in and be witnesses. But what happens? Well, first of all, any such request shall be accompanied by a detailed written justification of the relevance of the testimony of each requested witness to the investigation described in the first section of this resolution, which is looking into Trump and his abuse of power. That's what they're trying right now, is abuse of power. You know, they tried Russian collusion, that didn't work. So then they tried obstruction of justice, and that didn't work. And now they're trying abuse of power. Oh, they just can't come up with something that sticks. Anyway, so, okay, you can request, right? But you got to do this detailed written justification for doing that. But then guess what? The ranking minority member of the Permanent Select Committee is authorized. And then what? With the concurrence of the chair. Oh, once again, Adam Schiff gets to decide if this happens or not, to require as deemed necessary subpoenas and stuff. So they can have witnesses come in, the minority can, if Adam Schiff says so. And in the case that the chair declines to concur in a proposed action of the ranking minority member pursuant to subparagraph A, the ranking minority member shall have the right to refer to the committee for decision the question whether such authority shall be so exercised. So, isn't that nice? Okay, so Adam Schiff says, no, we're not going to bring that person in. And so it goes to the committee. Well, here's the problem, folks. The committees are based on how many people they have in the House, right? So the majority always has a majority in the committee. So it's not going to matter. So Adam Schiff can do whatever he so pleases, and nobody's going to stop him. I mean, you really think people on his committee are going to turn around and vote against him and say, no, we don't think you're being fair to the minority? Yeah, that's not going to happen. No, I don't think so. So this is the whole document. I mean, you can read through it, but that is what happens. The chair is authorized to make publicly available in electronic form the transcripts of depositions. The chair, again, Adam Schiff is the one who gets to decide. He's the one. He's running the show. He is God in this universe right here. And nobody can do anything to stop him. It is so unfair, but they're trying to make it appear, if people don't actually read the document, they're going to make it appear that this is to make things more fair for the minority. So they get to subpoena people. Oh, they get to do these different things. They get to question, well, only if Adam Schiff says they can. It just... You have to read it. You have to read it. And I'm sure that they are going to make it seem like, oh, no, we're doing nice things. We're making it all fair and open for the minority. But that's not true at all. This is a travesty. And when they vote on it, which I'm sure the Democrats will all pass it, And then Republicans, every single Republican should vote no on this. I don't care who they are. They should all vote no. You know, it is just a sham. That's what it is. They're trying to make it look like it's legitimate, and it is not. It hasn't been. It's still not. And it's not going to be, because they won't take a full vote in the actual House to determine whether they're going to impeach him or not. This is a resolution only for procedures. Has nothing to do with whether they're going to impeach him or not. So wanted to share that with you. Links will be down below. And then this one from Gateway Pundit confirmed Schiff witness Vindman shared president's call with several people, likely violation of leaking statute. Yep, this guy right here. And by the way, down here, this is what he looks like. He showed up in his uniform and everything. And this is what this guy says. He says, NSC staff are not supposed to wear military uniform. Why did Alex Vindman turn up for his testimony today in full uniform? It's political theater, a coup, because these people don't like Trump's America First foreign policy. And then down here, Catherine Herridge made a note of, you know, if this guy shared it, he was sharing things that probably should not have been sharing with other people. It's a presidential phone call. It was not declassified at the time that the whistleblower happened, by the way. So whoever shared with the whistleblower was probably also guilty of this 18 U.S.C. 798, which says you can't leak such things. So here's the video that she gives on that. So if you want to watch that. So it's very probable that this Colonel Vindman did something illegal in leaking this call and talking to other people about it. Yeah, it was probably illegal. Then we have this one. President Donald J. Trump has made it a priority to combat the heinous crime of human trafficking. And this came out on the 29th. This is one of the fact sheets that they have on the White House website. And it gives some very good facts. Now, those of us who follow the 17th letter of the alphabet, we understand that, you know, the border and everything really is not about immigration. It's about trafficking, human trafficking and drug trafficking. That's what they're really trying to stop happening on our southern border. But, you know, people don't understand this. And the human trafficking aspect of it is huge. And so he made a task force, and this was in a previous executive order. And they've been doing quite a bit of work, this task force. And the Anti-Trafficking Coordination Team Initiative, federal law enforcement more than doubled convictions of human traffickers and increased the number of defendants charged by 75% in AC team districts. And then, of course, you know, the 2018 seizure of the Backpage website, I think it was April 6th of 2018 that they did that. And if you go to the website, it said FBI seized the site. And so, yeah, that was huge because it was like one of the biggest internet organizations that were involved in trafficking. And there's others along here. I want to show you another one here. ICE arrested 1,588 criminals associated with human trafficking and identified 325 victims in fiscal year 2018. And then down here we have more. I want to show you another one here. The hotline that they put up, the National Human Trafficking Hotline, identified 16,862 potential human trafficking cases and provided 14,419 referrals to services between October 2017 and March 2019. That right there, you know, that's a lot of cases, 14,000. And then the DOJ provides grants, and those serving nearly 9,000 cases from July 1st, 2017 to June 30th, 2018. So none of this, you know, includes the 2019 numbers, obviously, because it's still 2019. And so, you know, there's just a lot that they've been doing, and people don't understand this. It's not really been in the news, but there's been a big bunch of things happening on that front. So I wanted to share that with you. And then this one, if you remember, I had a petition thing for them to stop people who are running for the Democrat candidate from being any part of the impeachment process with Trump. Well, mine didn't get quite enough signatures in a month, but this one with Nancy Pelosi, it did. 250,000 signatures. And here it is. This was back in January 18th is when it was put up. And by February 17th, it had enough signatures, and there have been 268,379 people have signed it. And you can still sign it, I believe. The links will be down below. Actually, I'll link to this, and it has a link to, right here's where the link is. So you can go there. Now, this one, I am kind of skeptical on this one because I don't know the original source of this. I know it came from the OAN, but I'm not sure where OAN got the information. Okay. So anyway, supposedly FBI Director McCabe had an affair with top FBI lawyer Lisa Page, who also had an affair with FBI boss Peter Strzok. Okay, so seems like Lisa was kind of having affairs with a couple of married men here. And by the way, she herself is married as well. So, yeah, it's kind of a weird, creepy little thing that was going on. And I don't know if that's going to expose more. You know, did she have text messages with Andrew McCabe that we haven't seen yet? That could be interesting. You know, if she was texting Strzok like she was, who knows? Anyway, here's, the OAN video and everything. So, yeah, don't drop the soap. Anyway, I will leave the link to this down below. And again, I don't know really the ramifications for this. Does it matter who she was sleeping with? Well, it all depends. If she was texting him like she was texting Strzok, I don't know how she could possibly be because they sent so many text messages. Anyway, so that one I wanted to show you. And then this one right here, you may have already heard. In fact, President Trump actually said it in one of his press briefings. And a Baghdadi operation named after Christian woman who refused to give up faith before ISIS killed her. And that is the young lady, Kayla Mueller. And yeah, it was really a sad thing. And down here at the bottom, if you go all the way to the bottom, you have a letter here that she sent home to her parents and saying that, she was relying on God. She says, I have nobody left, I'm here and this is the situation I'm in. So quite a testimony of faith there. And then down here, her mother said, I still say Kayla should be here. And if Obama had been as decisive as President Trump, maybe she would have been. So that's from the mother herself. If Obama would have done things differently, could he have gotten her out? I think if Trump would have been in there, he may very well have tried. And so they named the operation after her. That was very nice of them in memory of her. Then there's this one, Sessions strongly considering bid for old Senate seat in Alabama. And, down here it talks about, remember who got that seat, because when he was a senator, and then when he was given the job of the attorney general, it left his seat vacant. They had a special election in 2017, and this Democratic Senator Doug Jones got in there. So that was not a good thing that Sessions' seat ended up going to a Democrat instead. And, Sessions, though, is very popular in his state. Now, I do want to tell you, folks, now this is me. I really do have faith in this man. Now, he didn't do things the way we thought he should. I understand that. But he did an awful lot, and people are not giving him the credit for that. If you've listened very carefully, Barr has even mentioned a few times that he continued many programs that Sessions established. Now, here's the deal, folks. I understand, the frustration everybody's having, and I know what you watched play out, but there are actors, and sometimes what you're seeing is not exactly what is really the truth. And in this case, Sessions was tasked with coming on stage and doing a lot of things behind the scenes, but his major task was to clean up the DOJ. Okay, because if you recall, and I've said this many times, I have this meme on my meme page, you can download it, you can share it, is that the FBI investigates federal crimes. Okay, if the FBI is dirty, the federal crimes don't get investigated, right? Like Hillary Clinton and her emails? Yeah. then the next step is if the FBI does come up with the crimes and they hand those cases over to the DOJ, if the DOJ is dirty, then they're not going to prosecute the crimes. And again, that's what happened in many cases. So then you have to have the judges in place. And the Senate Judiciary is working very hard at getting judges put in place. And Obama thought Hillary was going to get in there, so he didn't fill a lot of the positions. So Trump has a whole bunch more positions than he should have had because Obama thought, Hillary will do it, right? So yeah, we're getting a lot more federal judges this way. And we've already seen some effects of that even in the Ninth Circuit, that things are changing a little bit. And we're starting to see some wins in the conservative category. So what did Jeff Sessions do? He was busy behind the scenes cleaning things up. Every person in the FBI who was fired had to have paperwork with that firing. And guess whose name was on that? Jeff Sessions signed them all. You know, he was the guy that fired them. So if you think he did nothing, firing those people was huge. So that was what he was working on. He was cleaning up the swamp in the DOJ, the Department of Justice, because it was so huge. If he would have tried to do what Barr is doing right now, it would never have flown. It wouldn't have, because things had to be done first. The cleaning up had to happen first before they could start the prosecutions. If Jeff Sessions would have started out and he would have announced an investigation into Ukraine right off the bat, can you imagine what would have happened while they were trying to investigate Trump for the Russia collusion? It would have never worked. It had to wait. And because of his personality, I think he was really good at setting things up, building the foundation. Maybe if you think about building a building, you know, you've got to have that good, strong foundation first. And then you have somebody come in and start putting up the walls. And I think Barr is the closer. You know, he came in, he's the one who already has an established reputation. Okay, they can't bully this man. They've already tried to get him to recuse once. And I just read the letter where they're trying a second time. It's not going to work. He's going to essentially give them the middle finger because it's just not going to work with him. He will not be intimidated. And he has enough of a reputation in Washington, D.C. that they're not going to cross him on it. They may try, they may bluster a little bit, but they know they're not going to get anywhere because that's who he is and that's the reputation he has. And he had the experience to come in and do that. So I really think, this is my opinion, but I base it on the 17th letter of the alphabet and what he said. I really think that Sessions came on stage for a period of time. He knew from square one that he was not going to be there for the next step, which included the prosecutions, because his letter of resignation was not dated. So I think they had it from the beginning. Yeah, that's just my opinion on that one. But Sessions is a good guy. I really believe that, folks. He's a good man, and I kind of hope he does get back as a senator because he'll be like Louis Gohmert. He'll take him to task. You know, when he gets in congressional hearings, he will really prosecute. But I even think there may be another task for him down the road because I hear that there's going to be some military tribunals, and he was in the military, and so he could probably be one of the prosecutors in that. So that's a very good possibility too. Anyway, here's another article. This is from PJ Media. And if Democrats are worried about releasing testimony, why are they leaking? And I think this is a very good question that we need to ask people, because if they're so worried about releasing these testimonies, then why in the world is stuff showing up, little bits and pieces, and they're all little bits and pieces that support their narrative, and it's not the Republicans doing it? So we know the Democrats are leaking, but why would they do that? Why not just release the entire testimony? If the testimony really supports what they are saying, the narrative they're trying to push, then why not release it? Because we would see that. It'd be obvious to the American people. But the problem is, it doesn't support what they're saying, and it would be obvious to the American people that they've been lying all this time. So This is the last one I've got for you on this one. And this actually comes out from 2015. May 18th, 2015 is when Judicial Watch put this out. Defense State Department documents reveal Obama administration knew that al-Qaeda terrorists had planned Benghazi attack 10 days in advance. So yeah, they knew ahead of time that this is what happened. And they have a whole article here about it. Remember, this was back in 2015. Now, what did I just tell you about how it works? If you have a dirty DOJ, nothing gets prosecuted. So did they know about it? Oh, sure they did. But the DOJ was never going to prosecute anybody about this because the person they should have prosecuted the most was Hillary Clinton. So things are not over with this, okay? Benghazi is not a done deal at this point. There's still much information about it that's going to come out, and we're going to learn a lot more about Benghazi, right? Yeah, some of these servers and things that they're working on getting, it's going to reveal a lot. It really is. So anyway, that's what I've got for you on this one. I want to thank you for stopping by, and I'll see y'all later.